Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place of everything related to Amazon FBA private label and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, your host, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, and today we bring you another special guest. His name is Refael Elbaz, and he's the founder of Unicargo, which is basically one of the leading companies in the space when it comes to freight forwarding and international shipping. And for me, it's a pleasure to have Rafael today because I know he has extensive knowledge when it comes to this topic, when it comes to international shipping, freight forwarding, and so on. And today we're going to be talking about what is happening in the space when it comes to freight forward, some of the tips you should be considering when going with a freight forward, and maybe much more when it comes to how you can be strategic to be very cost effective as well. So, Rafael, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show. How you doing, my friend?
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me, Vincenzo, and looking forward.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. We met for the first time actually over 1 month ago in Tel Aviv for the Scale for Retail. Yeah, which it was an amazing event, right? A lot of people. I didn't expect to see that many people, to be honest.
It actually was the biggest Amazon event in Israel so far.
Wow.
International people from all over the world came, and it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I really enjoyed it. Gave us the opportunity to meet face to face with people from the industry. A lot of people from Europe came, people from the US came, all of the biggest sellers in Israel. In Israel, there's a very big Amazon seller scene and community. So all of the big guys came, good friends, people we've been working with for 7-8 years now. So it's beautiful. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. I remember when I was talking with Joel from Fortunate to go to the event and then be one of the MCs. And then going on the day of the event and seeing the amount of people. Oh my God, I got so nervous because it's one of the biggest events I told you I have seen in the space. Even to date this year, I've been trying to a lot of events. So I think they did an amazing job. And yes, I was really excited to meet, some entrepreneurs, and there was a lot of drive for in terms of, exploring opportunities internationally. So yeah, very exciting. So looking forward to go back next year. Now, let's get started with you, Rafael. You have a very interesting background. You've been doing this for, as I can see from LinkedIn, over 7 years now. So I'm pretty sure you've been seeing a lot of things in the space. So, tell me a little bit about your background in terms of how you got started and what made you get started with Unicargo in the first place.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about my background, how I started, and then we can start, jump into to talk about Unicargo and what we built here. So basically, I started my entrepreneurial journey when I was 21, 22. In Israel, it's mandatory to go to the army service when you turn 18. Men go for 3 years, and it's a common tradition that after you get off the army for 3 years, you go overseas, you go traveling for a long time. It's very, very common for Israeli guys, girls, everybody does it usually. So I went to Australia, and I ended up staying for 4 years in Australia. I started as a trip, and I stayed there. I came into, I started doing business there. That's where I first encountered importing, private labeling. So I was doing I was doing my own brand from Alibaba. I'm talking to you, this was 2006 I got off. I'm talking about 2008.
Wow.
15 years ago, I built a brand of hair straighteners and hair extensions. We actually had shops in shopping malls. So we imported everything from China. I started to get to know Alibaba. They were actually starting out with their global B2B website for suppliers. And that's where I started, touching international trade. I got back after I've still the business. I got back after a couple of years to Israel, and I was in a junction. I said, all right, what should I do next? And I asked myself, what would I do if I had all the money in the world? If money wasn't an issue, what would I do tomorrow?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's the first answer that came to my mind is, I really love dealing with international trade, importing, moving stuff around. So I said, right, let's go and work for a freight forwarding company to understand the business from within. So I spent some years working with freight forwarding companies, become a manager, and being an entrepreneur, you always, when you go work for a company, you are progressing very, very fast because entrepreneurs think differently, right? They are pioneers, they are leaders, they are basically they are creating value. So I got into a manager position, and that's where I found out about Amazon sellers, about the whole Amazon space. And this was around 2014. And I realized that there is a huge hole or a gap in how traditional freight forwarding company looked at e-commerce entrepreneurs, right? Not only Amazon sellers, but eBay traders, people who sell online, physical product online. These usually were younger people, a one-man show. It might be a digital nomad, someone who works from his laptop from all over the world. So traditional freight forwarding companies didn't know how to deal with this type of client, didn't know how to find them, didn't know how to talk to them. And that's exactly where I decided I'm going to start a company who focuses mainly on that audience. And I started the company. I started Unicargo in 2015, almost 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I did it was the right move, right? Because that, say in the past decade, in the past 10 years, I call it a new market emerged. There is a new type of economy, or there is a new type of businesses that needs to move freight. Before that, again, I'm talking about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it was mainly traditional importers, exporters. It's a big company, corporation. When you have a supply chain manager and a logistics manager, people with many years of experience that work with freight forwarding companies. But now all of a sudden there are all these e-commerce businesses, Amazon sellers especially, that went on a course, an academy, learned how to source products on Alibaba, how to sell product, how to market product on Amazon, how the PPC worked and the SEO on Amazon worked. But they had no clue. They had no clue, as they still don't, about the logistics of it. How to move freight globally, how to ship products worldwide, how to deal with, you are a UK-based seller. Again, 7 years ago, it was science fiction. How a UK seller
impossible,
China to the US. He's based in the UK. He needs to have his goods in the US. He doesn't have an LLC. Don't want to open a company. It's just starting out, right? So we figured that out. We've solved that problem. We found that the solution that these people need, and we exploded. The company grew very fast. We were one of the first companies who actually specialize in Amazon sales, or put the majority of the focus on Amazon sales in our first year. And today we grew the company. We are about 100 employees here in Israel. Our headquarters are in Israel. We have another between 20 to 30 employees in China, in our offices in China, Unicargo China. We have our offices in the States, and we are kind of growing a logistics group of companies. We started buying trucking companies in the US and warehousing. So we got into everything related, everything logistics related, right? Warehousing, trucking, obviously doing the air freight, the ocean freight, the customs and everything. And it's just a huge sector. There is so much to do logistics-wise for an e-commerce business. It's not only moving the products from A to Z, from factory to marketplace. There are warehousing and distribution and reverse logistics, handling all of these returns and IOR services, right? You want to open up new marketplaces. Let's say you want to ship to Japan, right? You want to try Amazon Japan or Amazon Dubai or Singapore or Australia, whatever. Most of the sellers doesn't want to start with too much expenses, right? They don't want to open a company and get an accountant in the new marketplace. They want to start shipping something. They want to see that it sells, it picks up, and then they'll do the rest. And that's where more and more logistics services are needed, right? You need someone to act as the importer of record. You need someone to guide you on your import compliance. What do you need in order to import this or that product into Japan or into Australia or into the UK or Canada or whatever? So there is so much that this market demanded, and we were just just doing what it needs, right? As an entrepreneur, you just fulfill the need, you do it properly, you make sure you give the best customer service out there, and that's, I
Yeah.
think, one of our core values. That I'm an extremist about customer service, and that's the
Yeah.
DNA. That's how my managers work, and that's how the employees underneath them work, and that's what I made sure that we gotta keep, no matter how fast we grow or how big we grow, this personal attention, is this taking the sellers hand in hand. If we keep that right, if we do that, the best out of everyone, we would succeed. And that actually worked. So that's, in a nutshell, the process, the journey of
Yeah.
how we yeah. So
I love
really,
it.
really.
Yeah, what a journey. Something that I love about Unicargo and your journey is that actually when you founded Unicargo, it was around the corner where Amazon FBA was really becoming a thing. If you remember 2014, around that area. And I think the advantage that I bet you had with that is, first of all, you grew with the market. So you saw the whole explosion of FBA, you saw the mistakes, you saw the things that people were struggling with. And that, of course, is part of the DNA of your company. But on top of that, I totally agree. During that period and still now, people still don't have a clue about how to deal with logistics or international shipping. Yeah,
And you know what? The funny part is that supply chain is a very big part of
yeah. I would
e-commerce
say
business.
is the main bone always. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
And
and
again, remember, it's not only shipping from A to Z. It's distribution and warehousing and there is so much more than just international shipping as far as logistics goes for an e-commerce business.
yeah, and on top
Even
of
though
that, we need to consider international expansion. Like we know nowadays, it's not only selling in one country. If you're selling Europe, I mean, how many countries sometimes you need to ship to, and if you don't have a partner such as Unicargo, I mean, just the compliance and trying to figure out on your own is a nightmare. Yeah. uh,
and
yeah.
you know
So
we've
go
we've,
on.
we've learned that. And I was very frustrated with it by at the beginning, where the thing that the sellers would meet Unicargo usually when they grow bigger. When
Yeah.
you just start out, you'll look for the cheapest possible option. You'll try to ship with your supplier with whatever Chinese freight forwarder, or you'll take, I don't know, 15 different supply vendors, logistics vendors. You'll quote the same thing
Hmm.
from everyone. You'll choose the cheapest price. And at the end of the day, just when you grow a bit and when your business becomes, bigger, and your supply chain needs now, you understand how important it is. Only then the sellers would go and look for a more established logistics provider, or more than just, a transactional relationship, where in just, hey, here's my shipment, give me a quote, and I'll choose the cheapest one, and I'll go with that. And every shipment, I'll choose a different freight forwarder. When a seller grows or gets matured within the business, they understand they need to change the way
The
they
added
treat.
value. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think something that you bring to the table, which is something that I like about Unicargo as well, is not only the service itself, but you also bring in technology. You have your own platform and basically
Yeah.
way of enhancing this experience. Maybe you can tell us a little bit of more about what are some of the perks of having a technology such as this, because I still know people, they still keep doing everything on spreadsheets manually by email. I don't know how they keep doing it like that. And I just want you to point out what is the beauty of using technology like the one that you have at Unicargo, and what are some of the advantages that you get out of that. Yeah.
All right. So basically, we spend a lot of time and money
Yeah.
on developing that platform. It's out there. It took us about a year and a half
Wow.
and a lot of money, but it's a work in progress. It will never end. I always tell my
Yeah.
managers, CFO, when we sit on budget. And unfortunately, this project, the digital path, or the systems, the digital system or the platforms, it's a never-ending project,
Yeah.
because there are always things you need to add. There are always more modules. There are always that, in order to still to be the, in the front of the technology, you always keep on. You need always to improve it and build it. So basically what it does is give you a full transparency, obviously, on all of your shipment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we built it with modules. We have the quoting module where you can actually submit a quote
Mm-hmm.
online, and you'll have all of your quotes organized by status, what is approved, what is waiting, what is denied. Then you have the track and trace model where you see all of your shipments wherever they are, all the details, all very, very organized. You can name your shipment, you can use your own references, so it's easy to look out for. You can export everything to Excel file or CSV file to run
Yeah.
data analytics about that. There are the finance module where you can see all of your invoices sorted by the shipments, by the container. You can pay them. You can manage your statements online. There is a communication model where you can actually communicate with our team. Now
Nice.
we are working on building this and making sure this is kind of an operation system. So what we're doing now
Mm.
is we are building a partner module where you set up your suppliers, and then you set up your products, and then you set up your SKUs and landed
Mm-hmm.
cost and everything. So at the end of the day, what we want to do is that you can log in, right? You have a new shipment, you choose where it comes out of, like a drop-down menu. You choose the supplier, you choose the SKU that is related to that supplier. We already know the box configuration, like what's the box size, the
Yeah.
weight, and how many units, because you pre-configure it. So basically, within 3 clicks of a button, supplier, SKU, and number of units, we will have everything we need in order to give you a quote, right?
Wow.
Because we know what you have already within 3 clicks, and then
Yeah.
start automating the process. Now we are also working on the BI side of things, right? Business intelligence. So we can give you, all right, this shipment, you have that total landed cost per product with customs, with everything, because we are aggregating all the data regarding your supply chain, and we want to present it to you. You know, there's a big hole. We see and we know that a lot of e-commerce businesses, they don't really know what's their landed cost.
Yeah.
They don't
Most of
know
them.
it. They don't know it. Now add to the mix warehousing, right? Not only shipping,
Yeah.
custom, I don't know, additional charges like exams or waiting times with Amazon,
Yeah.
but you also have warehousing. That SKU is not going directly to Amazon. You are not done with it. It goes to a warehouse. Now the warehouse will issue another set of invoices for storage, for pick and pack, for shipping out, for receiving. And a lot of sellers are getting very, it's very complicated for for a smaller seller or a one-man show
Mm-hmm.
to get all the data and work on all these different data points and understanding its exact landed cost. And that's what we are trying to do on our platform, to give you visibility about your business. One,
Yeah.
let you manage your business supply chain wise. Uh, Also, we added a module of inventory. So basically, you will be able to see all of your inventory in our warehouses all over the world. We
Okay.
run about 6 facilities in the
Mm.
US. We have a facility
Nice.
we have a facility in India, 3 warehouses in China, in UK, in Germany, in Japan. So basically, no matter where you have product with our warehouses, you'll be able to see them on the platform, right? What came in, what came out, the actual inventory you have in every single warehouse within a one format. Within the same system, you'll be able to see many different locations.
Wow.
And what we're going to do is to connect the costs to give the seller an idea of how much that SKU on a SKU level, how much that unit cost him until it reached its final destination, whether it's Amazon, whether it's your brick and mortar shop, whether it's your distributor, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's an ongoing project. It's already running.
Love
Our
it.
clients are already
Yeah.
using it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I wanted to
unfortunately,
bring this to the table because I heard good things about it, and I think it's game changer. You know, especially if you have a lot of SKUs, different countries, and different suppliers. I mean, if you try to do all this manually, which I have seen some of our clients doing, they're struggling, and this is definitely the next stage into the game change in terms of how to have a competitive edge against your other competitors. You know.
yeah,
Um, Now, another thing I wanted to bring to the table is because I get this question all the time as well. Is like, when it comes to the freight forward space, we also have seen the last couple of years more and more also service provider entering the space. And sometimes, of course, they are the clear leaders in the space, but people still feel confused about how I go about finding the best freight forwarder for me? Like, what are the factors I should consider? Maybe some advice. And I know you've been in the space for
Great.
a long time, so maybe you can give us some insights about how you can find the right freight forward for you. Yeah.
This is a great question, and I'll start by saying I think there are good providers out there. As you said, the space has pretty much been filled up. When we started, we were almost the only ones in the
I remember.
world.
Yeah.
We started doing it before Chinese
I know.
did it. All the Chinese freight forwarding knew what Amazon is. We did that. So we were in a completely blue ocean 6, 7, 8 years ago, and now there are a lot of different providers doing that. I hear very good things about other providers as well, so I respect my competition. I think competition is good.
Yeah,
It's what
of course.
leads companies to become better and better and better.
Push you forward. Yeah.
Exactly. Not fall asleep, right?
Yeah.
So how to choose a freight forwarder? This is a very good question. I think sellers should look at freight forwarders just as you look at the lawyer when you go to a court, when you have a lawsuit. You look at your lawyer as an integral part of your interests, right? He represents your interest. And you need to understand that you need to find a partner that you feel comfortable with, that you know he represents your interest, and your interests are growing. Your interests are basically making sure supply chain or shipping or logistics is none of your issues. Definitely not the issue that would stop you from growing. I'm talking to a lot of different businesses, and some of these businesses say it right out there. Logistics today is one of our, one of the
bottleneck
part keeps us from growing, and that should be the exact opposite. A good freight forwarder or a good logistics partner should be the partner that making sure that logistics is not in your way to grow. That your growth has nothing to do with logistics now. You can sell as much as you have inventory to sell. Yeah. You always have inventory to sell. How do you get to that? This is now the next question. Okay, how do you get to that? How do you find that partner?
Yeah.
I think that you should look at the freight forwarder not on a transactional level. A transactional level means that you only communicate with him when you have an RFQ, when you need to quote a new shipment, and you run a bid. You have 10 different vendors in your pipeline. You send the quote to every one of them, and you choose the cheapest one. And a lot of sellers do that. A lot of sellers do that. What this makes is you are not able to build a relationship with none of these providers, because you work one time with this guy, one time with this
jumping
guy,
around.
Yeah. You don't have volume within one house. What happens when you have a relationship-based a partnership, when you build a relationship, you're now able to talk about payment terms. You'll be granted with credit terms. Some of our clients pay net 90, net 120. They get 300K, 500K worth of credit line from us because we know they value the partnership.
The history. Yeah.
So we support them, but it's not only about the credit line. We have, the account manager who run the account for the client. He becomes a friend. They meet face to face. They meet on Zoom meetings. They discuss. They raise challenges together. They consult. Now, again, your freight forwarder is your consultant. You are not a logistics person. You got to remember that you are an entrepreneur. You build a business. You're not a logistics person. There would be someone out there who knows much better than you. And you pay this guy. You pay your freight forwarder. Go on a meeting. Go on a Zoom call. Discuss. Let them learn your business. The more we freight forwarder learn about the business, the more we can help you. It's just like you go and you do marketing for a company, right? You need to learn the ins and outs of the company.
Of course.
Right? You can't work with someone who just say, hey, what's your price? You'll give them a price, all right. And that's it. Do it. You can't do it. You need to learn. You need to understand the business. You need to understand what hurt. What is their goal? What, do you need a better pricing? Do you need things to arrive faster? So the key, and again, going back to your original question, the key to find the right choose the right freight forwarder is the one who fits your business the most, the one who is most available to you, right? You want to move on from email, schedule a phone call, schedule a Zoom meeting, right? See what questions they ask you. See where their interests are. If I ask you about your business or your pain points or what's hurting today or where do you want to be or what's your plan for next year, I'm asking these questions because I want to help you get there, right? I don't want to focus on, all right, let's talk about this quote. Why is this? You gotta look at it from a relationship standpoint and not from a transactional standpoint. I'm not saying you shouldn't benchmark, right? I always tell my clients, you should benchmark your current provider, right? Every once in a while, get that quote that you work with him and send it over to other freight forwarders to make sure you're paying the market price.
The fair amount.
Now, there are no surprises here. There is no way I will give you a quote for $1,000 and someone else will give you a quote for the same service for $300. It doesn't work this way. Freight forwarders work on a steady margin. We are a service provider. The margin in freight usually works around 10% from the actual buying cost, from what we buy to what we
and the
sell.
difference.
That would be the range, 10%. So if you see a difference of 50% between different quotes, it's either you're not comparing apple to apples. For example, one freight forwarder gave you a direct transit time or a direct flight, much faster route, and one freight forwarder gave you a much slower, right? In freight forwarding, the slower the service is, the cheaper the price will be. The faster you need your product to arrive, the more expensive the price will be. That's the rule of thumb. So if you see a very big difference, it's either you're not comparing the same service or there's something fishy. Either one, right? So you gotta, as a business owner, I would do that as well. I would benchmark my providers. I would want to make sure I'm paying, the right market price, the fair value of what I need. But you want to build a relationship. You want to build a relationship. It will help your business. It will help you get better prices. Now, here in our company, at least, the account manager, they do the pricing for their clients. They know where to buy, how to buy from our pricing department. They put on the margins. Now, imagine you become friends with your account manager. He knows you. He loves you. You send him gifts. He sends you gifts. You develop a relationship. He wouldn't want to fuck you, right? He wouldn't want to rip you off and you live it, right? Account manager works on budgets. They are presenting budget on a monthly basis. They need to show growth. They need to show they have good retention level. They have, again, at least in our company, we put a lot of responsibilities on account managers or business unit managers, where they need to show growth of their accounts. They need to show retention. So it's in their interest not to fuck their clients. They to be very, very fair with the clients, and even sometimes lose money to keep the client happy. It happens a lot where there is a delay, the client is super upset, and you just have to lose money to keep them happy because they don't understand.
For sure. And I think it's an amazing tip because I agree. I think most people see freight forward just as a transaction rather than a relationship or a partner. And I think the issue is like when you don't really see it as partners. First of all, yes, it's very inefficient, even in terms of time, because every single time you need to ship, you need to spend time sending quotes around, sending the new dimensions, everything, comparing prices, right? And having a partner that he knows your business can give you advice not only on ways to actually be more efficient with your costs, which can be in terms of packaging, how you load the container, things like that, but also giving you different options in terms of shipping solutions, right? Than you jumping around like a chicken without head and trying to find the cheapest price, and you don't build any value. And I see a lot of sellers, unfortunately, doing that, and the issue with that as well is that you do a lot of mistakes, because when you keep jumping from provider to provider, statistically is more probable that you're gonna end up with the wrong one that does a mistake for you, or the wrong shipment or whatever, and you get screwed over. So it's a good insight there. Now, another thing I want to take from you, so we can start concluding today's episode, is that what are some of the mistakes or maybe tips that you could provide for people to be more cost effective with their shipping, right? I bet you have seen a lot of hacks maybe within the company you guys maybe implement, or tricks that you do with your manufacturer, etc. Maybe it would be nice to get some of that knowledge out of you, and all these listeners that are and the one they're watching as well. Like, what is one tip you would give to be more cost effective with shipping? Yeah.
Well, it really relates to the previous tip, of having an expert, logistics expert, look at your numbers, look at your
Mm-hmm.
business goals, and look at your or what you want to achieve, and give you
Mm-hmm.
the right advice, because he'll be able to build it better, build a better lane, place your 3PL in a more strategic location or a closer entry port, which is cheaper to ship to and faster.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there are a lot of things to be discussed as far
Yeah,
as
of
the
course.
reducing cost. You can take. I've seen people take industrial designer to
Mm-hmm.
redesign their packaging, right?
Yeah,
To
to be more
redesign their,
compact. Yeah.
to be less volumetric,
Mm-hmm.
that you can fit more in a box or more in a shipping container. There are a lot
Mm-hmm.
of different things to do there. I want to talk about different mistake. I want to talk about a mistake that we see a lot lately,
Okay.
and we've always seen it, but it comes back where there is a lot of new sales coming in,
Okay.
and that avoiding that mistake will help you not only save a lot of money but save your business. A
Sure.
lot of people are commonly mistaking between marketplace compliance and import compliance, and
Okay.
I'll explain. Marketplace compliance is you are trying to choose a product to develop or choose a product to launch, and you go to Amazon and you research what you need in order to sell that product on a specific marketplace, right? For example, for toys, for children product, Amazon will ask you a test report and a CPC.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that's it, right? But and a lot of sellers take that. They have, okay, I have this, I'm good to go. They manufacture the product and they ship the product. But as a matter of fact, marketplace compliance, which is what I need in order to sell in a marketplace, is very, very different than import compliance. What would
Mm-hmm.
customs need from me in
Mm.
order to, and a lot of sellers overlook that. They look at the marketplace compliance because they are focused on selling and they are not a logistics
Yeah.
expert, as we mentioned. And we see that with supplements. We see that with medical devices. We see
Mm.
that with cosmetics. We see that with children products. They would do everything they need in order to sell on Amazon. They will be approved on Amazon. They will be gated in. Everything will be ready for sale. And at the end of the day, they will ship a product and it will get held by customs. Sometimes confiscated, sometimes destroyed, sometimes they'll have to take it to a warehouse, to a bonded warehouse, and relabel everything because they forgot the label. They forgot to write, I don't know, their ingredients properly. They forgot
Mm-hmm.
to do a label review for an FDA. So the best tip I can give for sellers, even advanced sellers, by the way,
Yeah.
that marketplace compliance is very, very different than import compliance.
That's
You gotta
great.
work on marketplace compliance, but you gotta work with your freight forwarder to make sure the product you are trying to launch or the product you are about to manufacture, that you are in compliant with what it needs in order to import, right? And your freight forwarder, again, that's about partnership. Your freight forwarder, when you have a partner, you can go on a Zoom call, you can meet with him and say, hey, this is the product, here is my intentions, here is what I have, what do I miss, what do I need? They'll do it for free. They'll do it for free.
Mm.
Compliance agencies, if you go to a compliance agency, they'll take 3, 4, 5 grand just to give
I
you a
know.
report of what you need. Your freight forwarder, if you are a regular client, they'll go above and beyond to give you what you need most of the time for free.
Yeah.
So that's a tip I had to get out because I've
I
just
know.
encountered it myself a
And that
lot.
is a very good tip to be honest. I think that's even an assumption sometimes I made with products. Sometimes you assume that you are fully approved to sell on Amazon specific country, and you assume that's also why you need to import. But yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
you could get
Very
surprised
easy
and
to do
get
the mistake. Very easy to
yeah,
confuse. Very, very easy to confuse.
awesome.
That will save you a world of pain
Yeah,
and
for
money.
sure. I bet. For
Yeah.
sure. That's a man, Rafael. So thank you very much for all the tips and all the insights. I mean, when it comes to freight forwarding, there's so many things we can touch on, and I'm sure we're gonna
Yeah.
have future episodes to go more in depth. I want to thank you for your time, and before we go, I want to give you an opportunity so you can tell us how people can reach out. I'm pretty sure these people have more technical questions, or they want to get on board with Unicargo. So yeah, can you share those details with us? Yeah.
So basically, we are pretty active online. You can just Google Unicargo or look it up on social media, Unicargo. You'll reach out directly to our website. All the CTAs on our website are contact us, get a quote, contact us, get a quote. We love when people talk to us. You can reach out to me directly over my email. You can see my email is rafael@unicargo.com. But in any way, in any channel that you'll reach to us, there will be someone very, very quickly to respond. We have a
Awesome.
full team that we call pre-sales, that are these teams especially assigned to be the kind of the first response,
Mm-hmm.
right? When somebody puts in his contact detail, they'll go on, they'll talk to him, they'll answer questions. Even before a call, they'll just answer, they'll just talk to him. So we're all about talking to our customers. That's one. Secondly, we just launched a new supply chain audit. It's a new
Okay.
service that we give sellers. It's more for advanced sellers or bigger sellers. Basically, we get you into a supply chain audit. We give you a questionnaire. We let you ask. We ask you about 20 questions. You answer them. After that, we go on a call. We go on a meeting with you. We ask questions about your answers. We kind of start analyzing your business, your
Mm-hmm.
numbers, your costs. What did you pay? What are your routes? Why? What do you need to improve? And
Mm-hmm.
we give you a report based on that questions, that meeting, and the analysis that we do. We give you a full report on how you can save money, how you can save time, how you can do things better, how you can be more efficient. People love that. It gives a lot of value, and for us,
Yeah. Sounds
obviously,
great. Yeah.
we say to people, you don't have to work with us. You can keep with doing what you're doing with your freight forwarder. We'll still do the audit for you. But obviously, a lot of people, convert and ask us to do the job as well. So for us, it's a great way to learn to know new clients, and for clients or for Amazon seller, it's a great way to get instant value from experts, for your business, for free. So I think people would love that. Just contact us and ask about the supply chain audit, and
Of
our
course.
people
Yeah.
will.
I'm gonna make sure to put that on the notes as well. But yes, thank you very much for your time, Rafael. It's been a pleasure, and looking forward to have you on the next one. Yeah, it's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
very much.
See ya. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.